All right, so this is just a bit of 15, 20 minutes of going along what we were talking about before. How do we get our kids engaged early on? There's a few main points that really work for this. One is, believe it or not, yourselves. How many times do kids like beating their coach? All the time. So wherever you can, get involved in training as much as you can. Usually to the point where they're competing against you. Because if they beat you, they're rapt about it. And if they do, then you can put them back in their place the next time, but that's okay. It's good fun for them. There's things that keep kids engaged and change the way training goes as well as soon as you add them in. One is yourself. Two is competitiveness. Whether it is against the clock or against each other or against yourself, changes the dynamic of training. So the more you can add those things in, the better. Simple as doing a 5-star handball drill, but instead of it being a 5-star handball drill, you go and stand in the middle, try and swat the ball as they're running around. Changes the whole dynamic of the way it goes. And what we need to remember and what we really need to try and drive when we train our kids is giving them the opportunity to figure things out for themselves first. Don't give them the answers straight away. All right, we'll do some stuff here where I'll do the same with you guys, because it's funny, universally how us as adults still think the same way as kids sometimes when it is footy stuff. All right, I spoke earlier on about the difference in size ball. All right, what is a tennis ball that a footy isn't? Small, round. The smaller the ball, the harder it is to kick. All right, tennis balls are gold. Get tennis balls involved in training sessions as much as possible. A little bit of fun, something different. Trying to kick a tennis ball, you kick a tennis ball straight, you should be able to kick a footy straight. Right, I use tennis balls all the time. And when you're doing stuff like this, and you have a soccer ball, is even a good thing to use as well. Bring them in as something different. So the stuff we're going to do is in pairs, and we're just going to have a line, not very far apart from each other, but give 2 or 3 of them a tennis ball instead of a footy and get them to do the same drill. All right, it's just something different, and you'll find that they want to use it. Because the other thing that is psychology part of your brain tells you that if I kick the same thing back and forward, I'm all right, my eyes will get used to it. If I'm kicking a football and then I kick a tennis ball, it messes with my head. And your head will never get relaxed with it. It'll never get comfortable. It'll get comfortable if you take the footy out and you just kick the tennis ball, or you take the tennis ball out and just kick the footy. But if you have both going at the same time, your brain is constantly learning, constantly trying to figure it out. The concentration for yourself. All right, small bits and pieces, which I learned because I realised I thought about kicking way too much when I played footy. But it was probably the reason that I was the good kick that I was. All right, and I didn't realise that I knew it until I was asked to have a kick with someone as a favour. My first kid I trained, I took for 6 weeks, 6 one-hour sessions. And by about the 3rd session, I was going, oh God, I realised I know way too much kicking stuff that I took it for granted. So I ended up going home after those sessions and writing down what I'd learned. So we can always learn something as well as our kids learning something. So partner up, one here facing each other. 2 lines, face your partner, one here and one here. This is what I do with kids all the time at training, right? A lot of this is what we call rehab work, because you can't run around, so you have to stand and do this. But it's a way to get 100, 200 touches in 10, 15 minutes before you even start training, all right? And what we do in this is a warm-up to start with, then you change it into competitiveness. And everyone says it's whoever's last. I say it's whoever's first gets to pick the person that does the penalty. That's the other thing that changes training is penalty. And I'm not talking 400s, all right? Let's not run 2Kers. Just 10 push-ups, something small, or you drop the ball and every time you drop it, it's 2 push-ups. Because even that amount of stuff changes kids. All right, so rehab stuff. Does everyone know tram tracks? 1 ball up one side, 1 ball down the other side. All right, so 10 tram tracks, which is 20 handballs. Because it's 10 on the right and 10 on the left. All right, that's all I want you to do. It's 10 trammies. Up, 1 ball one side, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. No. 2 balls, 2 balls. No, so they're going, no, so then that ball, so the balls stay the same side. Oh, okay. The balls stay the same side. They don't go round, they stay the same side. One on the right, yeah, and then one, no. You go right, left. So you go right hand, left hand. Well, they stay the same side. The ball stays, there we go, the ball stays the same side. Balls.
Alright, left.
No, yeah, it's the same. You go one right-handed, one left-handed. Yeah, and then one right-handed. Oh, you swap hands every time.
Yeah, left-handed.
Right-handed, then left-handed. Right-handed, then left-handed. If you want, that might help you. Righto. Yeah, can bugger you out. Well, we can do this with our kids as well. So the next one, which you'll find a lot easier, is just right hand. Right hand round. Just go round the circle. Right hands. Right hand. 10 right-handers. 10 right-handers. Round the circle. That's it. There we go. Good. Good. Andy. 85. You still do push-ups. Right. Now go left hand. 10 left hands. Yeah. Right. Learning part. How many of us through that whole process study like this? Instead of like this or like this? Learning part for kids. Same thing. Handball with your left hand should be your right foot forward. Handball with your right hand should be your left foot forward, all right? Next one. 10 over, 10 under. So one of you goes over the top for 10 handballs, the other one comes under for 10, and then you swap over. 10 over, 10 under. A tennis ball messing with your head yet? Yeah. You're allowed to throw the ball, the tennis ball. No, it's all right. Good. You go over now. You go swap it over. Get your head around a sec. Righto. Tennis ball swap, tennis ball swap, footy. Right, okay, so now there's your warm up and you've done 50 handballs without even realise. Now, and I'll give you the tip, the closer you are, the easier this is. That's just another tip we can figure out with your kids. But, so now you put it into a race. Righto, so when you do the whole sequence of what you just did. So when you do 10 trammies, so it's 20 handballs to start. 10 right hand, 10 left hand, 10 over, 10 under. You turn that into a race with your kids. All right, ready? We're going to race it. Ready, go. 10 trammies, which is 20 handballs. Right, nah, up, down. Tram tracks is up, down. Here's one side, up the other side. Swap your feet over. When you do tram tracks, swap your feet over. It helps. 20 trammies, 10 right, 10 left, 10 over, 10 under. Swap your feet as you're going. 10 over, 10 under. So Mick just did make a point to me, which I forgot, is you as a coach walking around doing this, all right, you can figure out how hard this is for some kids as it is for the other by the look on their face. If they're like this, it's like, crap, there's too much going on, all right? Which is okay, it just is something for you to be aware of, that they struggle with this. Everyone struggles with this, it's fine. There's no issue at all, all right? So now, we're coming closer, right? So there's your competition to start with, and we just keep doing more competitions after this. So you come close to each other now, right? Come in. Right, so now you break it down. All right, this is just 10 on the rights. If you drop your ball, you start again. All right, so it becomes a race. You drop your ball, you start again, but at the same time, if I'm handballing, I'm allowed to swat. So if I got the time to catch a handball and I can hit his, you're allowed to swat. But that doesn't mean if mine goes down here, I can just run like this. All right? Okay, so it's just 10 right hand air balls, in close, in tight together. If you're not close enough to each other, you can't swat. Right, yeah, drop the ball, you start again. Guys on the end are usually the winners in this. That's right. There's the learning things. All right. Yeah. Right. All right. So then you hear generally what's happening around here. We're old bastards and we're having fun. You imagine what your kids are going to be doing. All right. So that's part of it. But also the learning part of it. All of a sudden everyone's back to here because I'm worried about my ball. Feet. Still got to feet with your kids. All right. Now you do the other way. Left-handed. In close. In close. In close. Righto. Away you go. If we keep going, start again. When you drop it, we're going to be here all day. So that's all right. There you go. All right. We want to do that. Now we'll really confuse them. I want you to go 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. Same thing. Same thing. What's the most important thing here with each other? Talk. All right. There's the educational part in this for the kids. 1 on the right, 1 on the left, 3 on the right, 3 on the left, 5 on the right, 5 on the left, and then down to 4. Now you go, well, I'll do it one more time, but it's silence. You've got to count in your own head. See if you can figure it out yourselves. Silence. See what happens. You have to count yourself. You have to make your own changes. See how you go. See how you go. 1, 3, 5, 4, 2. No. No, you're cheating.
That's right.
All right. What happened then? What do you reckon? Did we do it better the first time or the second time? When you were noisy or quiet? Why? Here's the educational part. Because you're concentrating, you're watching your partner as well. More so, first time everything's a rabble. Oh, and I can hear everything else, hear noise. All of a sudden it's silence. I can think in my own head. I have to concentrate harder and I have to watch my partner harder. Happens every time. Everyone thinks, oh crap, we're not going to be able to do that. That's not going to work. That's going to be harder. But it's actually easier because you're forcing yourself to be in the moment and concentrating more on the ball and concentrating on your partner. Little learning aspect. All right. So there's all that bit. You can add penalties into that. You can add the people that come first, get to pick the person to do the push-ups at the end or whatever, that sort of thing. But see, we've just had fun here for 10 minutes and you've had 150 touches or something ridiculous. All right. So this is also something that I ride heavily with junior clubs, and this is something that I implemented with the Northern Bombers last year, is every age group doing this at the start. Because what's the other thing that kids like? That footballers like. It's the same thing even when I was playing AFL. What do you think we like every time we rock up to training? Routine. What do kids like? Routine. Yeah, shots on goal. Yeah, they do like that too. So did I, don't worry. But routine. What is daunting for a kid sometimes when he goes from one age group to a next and changes a coach is it feels like it's starting all again. If you have a club that is online with everyone, right, and every age group does this, he goes into training session, he or her going to training session that next year, going, oh, I've got a new coach and there's new players and whatever, but then the training starts and they go, oh, this is normal. All of a sudden just breaks down that little bit of a barrier for a kid, right? So, and it worked really well with the Bombers last year. And it was enjoyable. You watch the start of training at every age group and it's up and about, and balls flying everywhere and bits going on and kids doing penalties and into each other, but it's exciting, engaging, and it keeps everyone involved. Okay, good, clear? All right, next bit we're gonna do is I just want this line to come maybe this far back. Right, now you move into your kicking stuff. One's got to kick over, one's got to kick under. There you go. There you go. One's got to kick over, one's got to kick under.
You go over? You go over. I don't know how to...
You
want to go over, I'll go under?
One's got to go over, one's got to go under.
Can I get a football?
Yeah. The tennis ball's part. You can change the tennis ball. It's probably due for a change.
Yep. I'll go over. Go over. Yep.
Righto. Learning part. What did we all do? No. What was the first thing we all said? Who's going over, who's going under? What are we supposed to be doing when we kick the footy? What? Watching it. What did everyone else do? Crap, here it comes. And this is what I do with the kids all the time. Try and let them figure it out for themselves. If I was to do this, because I've done it a lot of times, I stand here and I wait for him to kick and I kick slightly afterwards. But I know I can do that because I've done that for a long time. Teaching kids how to do this, what might be the best way for them to do this? No. This is where you got to figure one leader, one follower. Standing here, all right? I'm leading, but I'm kicking the footy, so I'm looking here. The whole time I'm looking here. Until I've kicked the footy, I have to watch the ball. I can stand here and communicate with my teammate for him to kick at the same time without us looking at each other. And that is as simple as 3, 2, 1, kick. One person call, the other person listen, kick at the same time. Because when we're teaching kicking, we're teaching to watch the ball. I put something else into it and everyone goes, crap, where's the ball coming? It's going to hit me in the nose. I'd rather you get hit in the nose and your ball get there properly than you watch and your ball go that way. Does that make sense? Try it again. This is the educational part. So one call, one kick. Doesn't matter who goes over, who goes under. It matters when you kick at the same time. One of you's has got a call. 3, 2, 1, kick. And watch the ball. Watch the ball. Whee, ball clash, good one. Right, did that help?
Yep.
Nah, there's always a nut, there's always going to be a nut, but it generally does help.
One of the balls is going to take a long time to get there, isn't it? Sorry, you went first. Well, you're going over the top. Who should be calling? Yeah, work it out.
It's just another part of it, another point, another key education part. Right, opposite leg. That's the exact response we get out of every kid, isn't it? Isn't it? Right, I'll tell you. Yeah, hang on. Here, I'll tell you what opposite leg kicking is all about. Oh, hang on. Opposite leg kicking is all about trying to find a similar amount of power in your opposite leg that you do your preferred leg. All right? And there's a few ways you can do that. Probably the most important one here is by a simple, if everyone stands on their preferred leg, put their opposite leg out in front of them. Right, push your toe to the ground as hard as you can. So your toes down. What happens to the rest of your leg? Stiff, right? Goes tight. That's power. That's you generating power like that. So when you're teaching a kid to kick left foot, because what do kids do when they kick left foot? See that? Right? It means you lose all your power and you've got no control over where your ball hits the foot. This, what happens to my leg there? Bang. All right? Toes down, toes down. When you're kicking opposite leg, you've got to teach your kids how to have power in your legs. As soon as they have a floppy foot, you lose all power, you lose all control. It's the same here with you guys. Opposite leg, because you're all whinging about it. Point your toe to the ground. Toe to the ground, one of you count, 3, 2, 1, kick. See how you go.
All the way. Think a bit more. 3, 2, 2, 1. Nice.
Your opposite leg kicking is where you get your most improvement out of kids all the time, until they get to a point where they're doing it well. Right, it's funny because I coached an under 11 boy, and then I was I was out doing some work at St. Pat's, and one of the year 12 students said, "Oh, you take one of my little cousins for kicking." I said, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Yeah, he was teaching me how to kick left foot the other day." he was year 12 and he was 11 years old, but he was that much more confident after doing 6 weeks of left foot kicking with me that he does it in a game now as well, and he teaches the rest of his team. So the empowerment of using an opposite leg or a different part of your body once you get it right is huge, because it makes you feel small not being able to do it well. So if you can make them feel good about it, they'll want to do it more. You watch the kids change, you watch their attitude change to kicking. All right?
That's where that smaller ball works too, not the third.
Yep, absolutely. That's where a tennis ball works, because every kid in there, when they hold a footy as well, most of the time either wants to try and drop it with their right hand or they want to drop it with 2 hands. Give them a tennis ball, they got no choice. I have to stand there, I have to drop this with my left hand, right? It's perfect. That's why smaller balls work really well. The other thing to do after you've done this, so we've been out here for 20 minutes, you've had close to 300 touches of the footy, which kids feel happy about. They come to training, I touched the footy, and then you go into your drills and all that sort of stuff. But the most important thing to do also when you do something, and especially something that's unusual or weird, is afterwards, give them 10 kicks of free play. So just put one ball down and just have a kick. Kick in your normal style. It's one of the most important things to do, because when you don't want to come out of a session feeling like, oh my God, that felt all so weird. You always finish the session just going, I just want you to kick the footy. Just go and have a kick, because it makes them feel so much better about themselves as well. It makes them feel relaxed, comfortable, and happy about to coming into the next session and doing it again. So that's the same with you guys. Just put one ball down, one between 2. I just want you to have a kick. I want you to have 5 on your left, 5 on your right. Who here wants to have a couple of extra kicks? Who wants to be my minion? 1 or 2 of you? 3 of you? Want to have some shots and goal? Yep. Righto, beautiful. All right, so how did you find all that? Good?
Would you say it's a standard start?
Doesn't have to be that much.
Yeah.
Right, say the first 15 minutes of training. Just do that, and you can time it, you can do as much of it you want, you can do as much. You know, generally the kids probably want to do more kicking than handballing, but you can do that as well. And you watch, if you do something like that with kicking as well, the educational side of things, where you just got one ball between the 2 and you're kicking, I say, all right, I want you to have 5 on your left and 5 on your right. All right, let them go, you watch the balls go everywhere. All right, bring it in and go, right, I want you to have 5 on your right, 5 on your left again. Every ball you drop, you got 2 push-ups. You watch it change. The educational part of that afterwards is coming in and going, right, why did you do it so much better? I go, because of push-ups. I'm like, well, okay, so do I have to stand on the ground with you during the game and go, you better kick this right or I'm going to give you push-ups? No, it's the educational part is, every time you touch the footy, treat it like gold. Right? All these little bits and pieces, try and let them figure it out for themselves first. Right? Because they won't go, we'll do this just as well without penalties, because they won't, no one does, unless you tell them. All right, goal kicking. All right, goal kicking is the only skill that hasn't improved in the last 50 years. Anyone tell me why? Practice is a little bit of it. Fatigue's a little bit of it. Right, this is getting more along the line. Does anyone know the difference between an open skill and a closed skill?
Well, the environment doesn't really change the way you're doing.
Yeah, so sort of. So like an open skill is running down the ground, picking it up, handballing, doing everything automatic, everything that's natural to you. A closed skill, something stand, think, deliver. Abnormal, right? Basketball free throw. Stand still, think, deliver. Lay up, not so much, run down the court, that sort of thing. It's the only closed skill in AFL, which is the only reason it hasn't improved in 50 years, because we don't acknowledge that it's a closed skill, and we don't acknowledge the fact that your head is making you think a hell of a lot more stuff than when you're just running down the ground, picking up the ball and kicking it. All right? So when I teach goal kicking is, I'll go through a process, right? And I'll get the guys out here and I'll see if you guys can figure it out as much as I can while we're doing it. So who was going to have a kick for goal? You three, righto. Come over here. First thing we do, right? Anybody here play shooter video games? Probably not. Lots of kids do, yeah. Right? So my brother was in the army. He used to work in reconnaissance and he used to work with the sniper shooting team. There's a sniper shooting term that says aim small, miss small. There's two parts to it. What do you think it is?
Aim to a smaller area, you're going to have less of an error.
Right, he's heard it before because I've told him before. So, aim small for a sniper, right? If I miss it by a small amount, what still happens? Still hit the target. All right, so what's small about the goals? Goal post. So the three guys are going to have a kick. I want you to come back out about 2 metres. I want you to try and hit the goal post. Come and have a kick. Come over here, guys, as well. This is the process we go through. Put a coffee. You can put a coffee on it, whatever. Yeah, mate. I'll join in. It's about here, right? And, hey, I've been off of late, so but. We have 3 shots. You can all do it if you want. Up to you. Oh, look at that. 1 from 1. On the money. You know what? Yeah, again, just have 2 each. 2 each. Oh, hit the behind post. Righto, grab a ball. Right, now what I want you to do is, I'm going to stand the mark. I'm going to stand the mark. I want you to go back as though you've taken a mark and you're about to have a set shot, but I want you to hit the post. Hit the post, hit the post. All right, I want you to hit the post. I want you to just have 2. I want you to do it as though you'd normally do it in a game. Hit that post. Pretty handy. Have 2 each. Hit the post. 2 each. Where's the young fella? I want you to do 2 as well, as though you would do it. All right, better. All right. Now when I do this with kids, the question I'll always ask, what were you thinking about? What I asked you to do?
Hit the goalpost.
So what were you thinking about?
Hit the goalpost.
In the goalpost? All right. Do any of you think you did the same thing twice in your run-up?
Didn't give it any thought.
Didn't give it any thought. All right. Goal kicking is about triggers and having triggers in your run-up to make it from a closed skill to an open skill. All right? Does anyone know what my run-up was? Hey? Nah. I didn't walk at all. It's the walking steps in your run-up which make it a closed skill. When I teach kids how to do this, I'll go, all right, after that, I want you to go back and I want you to have 2 kicks again where I want you to walk 4 steps, run and kick the ball. I don't care how many you run, running doesn't matter. Walk 4 steps and I want you to stand there and I want you to call them out. I want you to stand here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, run and kick the ball when you're ready. Sound like an idiot? But there's a point to doing it as opposed to just counting in your head. What usually happens then is I get them to do that and you watch their kick change to a more consistent kick. And the reason for it is, usually, I'll then ask them, all right, what were you thinking about? 4 steps. 4 steps. Because goal kicking is about taking everything else out of the way. The goals, the score, mum and dad, the crowd, the opposition, the wind, the rain, everything. So when I ask them to walk 4 steps, and all they're doing is going 1, 2, 3, 4 out loud before they start running and making an open skill, everything's gone in their head. All these distractions are gone. And I can ask them, did you notice the 3 birds overhead? Did you notice the fire siren down the road? Did you notice this? Did you know that? And they all go, no. Why? Because I'm standing there counting out loud 4 steps. Because I can tell you to do it in your head, and you go, yeah, I'll do it in my head, but you won't. Actually saying it verbally makes your mind think about that, as opposed to, I'm just counting in my head. Oh, there's a bit of grass there. Oh, this. You watch them change, not saying that every kid has to have 4 steps. It's the one thing I can't teach you, is your run up. I can teach you how to take away the noise and make you more consistent, but I can't teach you what those triggers are. Mine was, I stood there and just ran. Because the way I thought about it was, I'm a good kick in the ground anyway. What am I doing usually? I'm usually running. But I took 3 months of changing my run up every 2 weeks to figure that out. I had a different run up every 2 weeks. Even if I hated it, I made myself do it for 2 weeks. So I take an hour goal kicking session. I'm trying to cram 3 months into an hour. So you start at 2 steps, run, kick the ball. 4, 6, 8, 10. Don't usually go over 10, and you do 0 as well. Most kids are 4 to 6. Most kicks will then run between 6 to 8 steps to kick, because that's what comes natural. That's as though you're running down the ground kicking. That's why it doesn't matter. It's about trying to take your focus away from what you're doing when you're standing still. When you're standing there going, crap, I need to kick this goal. Sitting there going, all right, I just got to think about, mine were, hold the ball outside because I have an inside hold, and get through it. My saying to me is get through it was I needed to be running fast enough, because I know that 90% of the time if I'm going to miss left. That's because I've got an inside ball drop, and if I'm going too slow, I'll lean back, drop the ball inside, I'll chase it left. So they were my triggers. Every other kid's different. That's the one thing I can't teach. Good? Makes sense? Learn something? That's it, session done. Come in, grab the balls, let's go in here. We'll just have a quick chat in the room afterwards.